something interesting just happened in hip hop, and it might reveal a serious flaw in the music industry. Did LaRussell expose a flaw in the Billboard chart system? Says his latest album sold enough copies to debut in the top 5 on the Billboard charts. But according to him, a company directly partnered with Billboard told him that those sales would not count. Not because they weren't real sales, but because of how he sold them. See, the question is, did this artist just expose a flaw in the Billboard system? Or is this simply how the rules have always worked? Let's break it down. What it do, fame, family, what it do? Back again with another one, and this one is gonna be interesting. It's good to see everybody again. And let's get right into this topic, because LaRussell says his album moved tens of thousands of units, and it did so directly to his fans. And based on his calculations, and as we are all familiar with the individuals who actually donated large cash amounts, like NBA star Kyrie Irving.
This morning, I woke up and I had a sale for $11,000. $11,000. And I'm like, who the hell would give me $11,000? And it happened to be number 11 on the Dallas Mavericks. Kyrie Irving! Womp, womp, womp. They tried to crucify that man for his taste. And it might not even be in his taste. But when we get to the point where we trying to crucify niggas for what they might have seen, not what they done or said, but just what they may have seen. When you that influential and impactful where they don't even want people to be influenced by your taste, it mean you really standing for something. Shout out Kyrie Irving.
Snoop Dogg donated $2,500 to LaRussell. Comedian Cedric the Entertainer donated $1,000. And I believe there were other individuals like Gary Vee who donated a large amount as well. Now, based on the amount of money that these well-known individuals donated, on top of all of the fan support that amounted to, I believe it was a little over 30,000 units, that number should have placed LaRussell inside of the top 5 of the Billboard 200. But when the chart results came out, his album didn't appear where he expected. Why? Because many of those sales were not recognized by the chart system.
So 30,000 albums independently within my community. We was really excited because with 30,000 albums, you know, we were supposed to chart, and I would have been like top 5 albums in, and I was like, man, we did it. And I get a call from a company called Luminate. Luminate works with Billboard. They decide who charts and how it goes, you know, and we like, man, we sold 30,000 units. And they come back and they say, none of your units count. All that hard work you did, it's for you and your community to enjoy, but it don't count for what we do. And we like, well, why? And they said, well, you called some of your fans that bought albums, you did pop-up shows, you did live streams, and you set a goal and said you was going to sell this much. That's incentivizing them to support you. And I said, so marketing and promoting. At first, it was bothering me because it's like, man, you know, like we grind. What you talking about? Like we really did. I broke records. I sold out for 20,000, 18,000, 11. What y'all talking about? Publicly, we the first people who ever made album sales transparent. You seen every sale live. Nobody, no other artist, the industry don't do it. And they said, nah, that don't count here. They game, they rules. And that's cool. You know, it's like we're going to take our ball and we're going to do what we do over here. And I'm going to make y'all look culturally incompetent. It is what it is. At the end of the day, it's like, let come what may. you know, and the fact that it happened to me of all people is like, I'm the one who gonna go speak and go educate. All right, it's cool. Let me tell the people what's going on though, and then y'all could talk to that. So it is what it is. We didn't chart, but we know what the fuck we.
Now, before we get into any controversy, you have to understand something important. The Billboard charts don't actually track music themselves. They rely on data company, multiple companies to be in fact, but one data company by the name of Luminate was the data company that let LaRussell know that his sales didn't count.
So apparently 30,000 fans buying your album doesn't count as demand anymore for the Billboard charts, but spending millions of dollars on campaigns does. Somebody make that make sense. A black independent artist, LaRussell, went live, had shows, told his fans that he had a goal of selling 100,000 albums. His community showed up and bought 30,000 copies directly from him. Not for $1. Some paid upwards to $20,000 for the digital download. And somehow the charts told him today that they don't qualify. What is the actual purpose of the album sold chart? Isn't it supposed to measure consumer demand? And aren't the rules there to make sure that the charts are not manipulated? 30,000 people opened their wallets to buy this album. That sounds like honest demand to me. But apparently demand only counts if it moves through the machine, the one where the label spends millions of dollars on radio promo, payola, advertising campaigns, influencer campaigns, playlist placements, and marketing rollouts and bots to push the chart numbers. So that counts, but an artist talking directly to his fans, mobilizing his community, now we're worried about chart manipulation? Interesting. I understand that the billboards, they have their rules, and I get that the charts rely heavily on Luminate, which was designed to filter through, sales and all of these things to make sure that it's fair enough. But if the system struggles to recognize 30,000 real fans buying directly from the artist, then maybe the charts aren't measuring demand. Maybe they're just measuring who has the machine behind them.
Now, to bring a little bit of more context into how this all works, let me break it down for you. Luminate collects data from streaming services, retailers, and digital stores across music industry. Every week, they track physical album purchases, digital album downloads, individual track sales, and streaming numbers. Now, all those digital sales get converted into something called album equivalent units. Then that data gets sent to Billboard, who then publishes the charts. But here's the catch. Not every sale counts. Again, if your sale happens outside of the track ecosystem, there's a chance they won't show up in the charts. And that's where LaRussell's strategy enters the conversation. Now, LaRussell has built one of the most unique independent music models in hip hop. Instead of relying on labels, streaming playlists, or radio, he sells music directly to his fans. He also hosts concerts in the backyard of his childhood home in Vallejo, California.
I'm from the fucking Bay,
where his fans can support him in a community style setting. But the most controversial part of this strategy is how he sells his albums. Instead of a fixed price, fans can sometimes choose what they want to pay. That means someone could buy the album for $5, $20, $100, or even more. Now, from a fan perspective, it's powerful. From a chart perspective, it might break the rules. See, Billboard has strict policies designed to prevent chart manipulation, because in the past, artists and labels have used tactics like merch bundles, ticket bundles, bulk purchases, or discounted album sales to artificially inflate chart numbers. Now, because of that history, Billboard often requires standardized pricing, approved retailers, verified reporting. So if sales happen outside that ecosystem, they can be disqualified from chart calculations. And that appears to be the issue LaRussell ran into. Now, his sales were real, but the system may not recognize them. This type of conflict isn't new. Independent rapper Russ previously accused Billboard and Luminate of removing thousands of legitimate sales from his album tally. He argued that the system sometimes favors major label strategies while penalizing independent approaches. But whether you agree with him or not, the frustration is real, and LaRussell's situation brings the same debate back to the surface. So here's the real issue. The Billboard charts were designed during an era where music was sold through record stores, digital retailers, and later streaming platforms. But artists like LaRussell are building something different. A direct-to-fan economy where artists control the sales, the pricing, and the community. And if that system grows, the question becomes, should the charts evolve with it, or should artists stop caring about the charts entirely? What do you think? Drop a comment and let's start this conversation. Now, personally, I think this situation exposes something deeper. The Billboard charts were designed to measure industry distribution, not necessarily independent innovation. So when an artist like LaRussell creates a completely different way to sell music, the system doesn't know how to process it. And that raises a serious question. If fans really bought the album, should those sales count? Or does that chart credibility require strict rules? So again, now I want to hear from you. Did LaRussell expose a flaw in the Billboard chart system? Or were his sales outside the rules from the start? Because one thing is clear, the way artists make money in music is changing, and the charts might be struggling to keep up. Now, Fame family, these are my thoughts. I want to hear yours. So hit that like button, follow, subscribe, drop a comment, and let's talk. And until next time, peace and love.